Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Anderson from the School of Academic Research, and I am here to discuss another research topic. Today we are discussing the processes of a qualitative study. By the end of this video, I hope that you have a better understanding of the processes of a qualitative study so you can make a decision of whether or not this type of study is the best method for you. Okay, but before we get started, I want to make sure that I remind you to like, subscribe, comment, and share the video. Every week, I create a new video about academic research. So if you want to keep up with the topics, please make sure to subscribe. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with our discussion about the processes of a qualitative research study. One of the first things that a researcher will do is collect previous data. The collection of previous data is to give the researcher an idea of why this problem has occurred previously amongst a group of people. However, the goal of the researcher for your study is to find out why the problem is currently going on. So you will use the old information that you've gathered in the literature as your base, and then you'll have to collect current information to learn about the current problem. When collecting this data, you will have interviews, focus groups, as well as just general conversations. As long as this information is collected in an ethical manner, you can collect the data however you feel that is needed for your study. However, the goal is for you to collect complex information so you can get all of the details needed to help solve the problem. When conducting these researches, these interviews and focus groups and conversations that you have, one of the main things a researcher has to do is to empower your subjects. And what I mean by that simply means that you want to make the participant feel comfortable with the interview or the observations that you will be conducting, because if they do not feel comfortable, it may be hard for them to give you the information that you need. So you want them to feel empowered to say, I want to give you this information because I have a problem and I hope that you can help solve or definitely enhance the situation that may be occurring within my environment. So that's always key. When collecting this information, the information will always be in a literary form. It'll come from stories or poems, once again, conversations. This will all be in a written form in the end. Another process or reason why researchers decide to collect or to implement a qualitative research study is because it allows them to retrieve an abundance of information, whereas if they were conducting a different type of study, let's say if they were conducting a quantitative study, they may only be able to graze the surface. However, you want to retrieve detailed information, and that would require you to conduct a qualitative research study. Another reason that researchers, I would say, run to a qualitative research study is because they are not comfortable conducting statistical research, where they will have to look at numerical data, analyze that data, and then put that data into a statistical software. A lot of people do not have that strong statistical background, so they may feel as though a qualitative research best fits them, so they tend to run towards the study that they seem to be most comfortable with. Now, there are also 3 commitments that qualitative researchers have to commit to before conducting a qualitative research study. The first commitment is the commitment to spend long hours getting the population you need to participate in your study. And what I mean by that, let's say if you wanted to interview teachers within a school district, you would have to first get with the superintendent of that school district just to get their approval. So that's time. You would have had to have spent time writing a letter to ask for the permission. So you're waiting on permission. Now, once you've received the permission from the superintendent, now you have to notify the principal. After you've done that, and then you have to figure out a way, how are you going to retrieve the participants' email addresses or phone numbers so you can make them aware of your study, because you have to be able to reach out to them. So let's say now you've met all of your approvals, you have everything you need, so now you're going to send out your emails. You may send out emails, you may also mail out letters to your participants, as well as hand deliver. There's no set way that you have to give these letters out. However, you do want to spend time getting that information out to your participants. But let's say a week has gone by and you have sent out 100 letters to people, right? Day 7 you check and you only had 5 people to respond to your letter requesting them or asking them to participate in your study. So now you have to regroup and say, okay, I better resend or send a follow-up letter. So now you have to spend time creating another letter to send out, asking for their participation. So it can take a lot of time. So just be aware of that it's not, I'm gonna send those letters out and everybody's gonna respond. That rarely ever happens within a study. The next commitment that you have to be aware of as a qualitative researcher is that you must transcribe all of this data. So let's say you collected from interviews, focus groups. You can even collect it from drawings, conversations, videos. There is an abundance of ways that you can collect this information. However, all of this information that you have decided that you feel is necessary for your study, now you have to say, now I need to transcribe this data. Okay, so now you're working to transcribe the data, but it is an abundance of information. For instance, let's say that on average, most people may say between 200 and 350 words per minute. So if you are conducting 45 minute to an hour interview, you can have an abundance of information. And if you are transcribing this information on your own with any type of assistance, it could take weeks or months to get all this information transcribed. However, after you've transcribed this information, then you have to look at all this information and place it into, and find patterns amongst all of this information that you've gathered, and then put it in categories and theme the data. So it's a big to-do. So just keep in mind that the more data, the more sources that you decide to collect, that simply means that that's more information that you are going to have to transcribe. Okay. The third process or commitment is the ability to work in an unstructured situation. And the reason I say that is because within qualitative research, things are constantly changing. For instance, the venue may change. You may say, hey, I'm going to conduct this study at the school site, at a church, in the participant's home, wherever the participants feel comfortable. However, you may have to make that change. The protocol or interview questions may change. So nothing within a qualitative research is simply just set in stone that things are going to happen this way. Even when it comes down to how you are going to report the data, there's no particular way that this data has to be written out. However, you do want to report the data where not only you can understand it, but the reader can understand it as well. So there's no concrete set in stone template and said that it has to be written up this way. However, you do want that information to be conveyed in a manner that's easily understandable for just the advocate or layman's reader. Okay, so now I hope that after us going over all the processes and the commitment that it takes of a researcher in conducting a qualitative research study, I hope that you have a better understanding of whether or not you want to conduct this type of study by now. Please let me know in the comments below whether or not you have made a decision to conduct a qualitative research study. I hope that you have learned a lot today, and I would love for you to come back next week to watch more of our academic videos. Each week a new video is posted, so please make sure that you subscribe below so you can keep up with the new videos. As always, please like, subscribe, and comment. Until next time, I hope that I'm able to make your research journey an easier one. Have a great day. Bye.